Welcome back. Let's continue to address our health this morning. We've taken care of the gut. Let's take care of the rest of us. And I think fever and body pain aren't just part of the flu season. They are signals from your body, and you've got to listen. And as adults, I think many of us just push straight through it. I am a major culprit. Well, today we are joined by the wonderful Dr. Chanel Martinison to help us unpack when to treat, when to rest, and how to look after our bodies better this winter. Doc, thank you so much for joining us. You look amazing. You look ready to tackle winter.
Thank you.
You know, I almost take validation out of not getting sick, but knowing that I'm kind of sick. How often do you encounter this? Is it denial?
Every day. Every day patients are coming saying, I can't take off, doctor, I need to go to work. But they actually just shouldn't be pushing through. Rest is important.
I'm thinking where it comes to bear for me, sadly, is cumulative damage. Where you get to a point where you're like, wow, okay. And unfortunately, in health, you don't get a credit system. By living healthy, then you can live unhealthy for that. You've got to kind of maintain. But what are the damages, the potential dangers of just going through it?
Yeah, so when you're having the pain and the fever, it's actually your body telling you that there's something wrong. So you probably should be listening to it. And if you're pushing through, you actually take longer to recover. So you actually are more of a detrimental. It's more detrimental to your body because you actually need the body rest. So the rest is actually as important as the medication that you actually take.
So, and I've had to learn to, and I've been using the term lean into because it feels like a nice way of committing to something without being too kind of obsessive about it. But the notion of I let my pain and my rehab kind of guide me, and I suppose with flus, your body telling you something, you got to listen. But when do you listen? Because we can't take every day off. I work every day. And there's a reason why we work every day, just like you. So when do we know to listen to that voice?
So I'm the same. I'm also guilty of it, unfortunately.
And you're a doctor, okay? I mean, what chance do you stand?
But it's because we're actually trying to, you know, you think you can't afford it, but you actually can't afford to be pushing through it because your body is going to be so much more sick for longer.
And less resilient for the next time.
Exactly. So the fever is, when there's pain, it's telling you that there's some inflammation, but the fever coming with it, it tells you that there might be some infection, actually. And when there's a fever, it usually relates to like bacterial infections. So that's when we'll be looking at the antibiotics. So that's when you probably should be going to the doctor and checking, should I be taking something more for the pain and the fever?
And it can be a frustrating line because, let's be honest, when you do get the flu, you feel like you're dying. It really can hit hard, not just the man flu, all flu.
Yes.
I get that. So something I discovered through my wife's journey with pregnancy, paracetamol, especially for me for headaches.
Yes.
I've got a lot of other quite severe pain that won't even touch science with, but there are certain pains where it just allows me, it gives me that gap to feel a little bit better to be able to overcome. But in your mind, how does paracetamol work and what are the dangers? Because it's very easy to take too many.
Yes. But then there's also patients who take one paracetamol for one day and then they think it's going to work. So actually, one tablet is usually 500 milligrams. So you actually need 2 of them because you actually need 1 gram in your body.
Okay, to be
and
effective.
You can't just be once a day. You actually need to take it up to 6 hourly. So that means 4 times a day. So that would be like morning, mid-morning, afternoon, evening, because of the half-life and how it's degrading in your body and all of those things. So it's definitely, you shouldn't be taking too much, but there is, at max, you should be taking 1 gram every 6 hours in the day.
So that's the sweet spot. I get that. I'm interested in this kind of grey area between viral and bacteria and how that feels. At what point do we need to speak to a doctor? What shifts? The colour of the phlegm, the way the body feels? Is it just temperature of the body? What changes?
Yes. So apart from the pain, it obviously depends where the pain is. If it's a headache,
everywhere.
Body aches everywhere. The fever, some people don't know that normal temperature should be 36.3 degrees. So when you actually check with a thermometer, if it's higher than that, some patients come to me and they're just like, I'm okay, I'm fine. And then their temperatures are like 40 degrees.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so that's probably where you should be worrying, when it's over the 36.3 and when the phlegm is maybe changing and it affects like your headaches and just you cannot actually function, then you should probably be coming in. And like I said, fever usually denotes a bit of bacterial infection, so then you probably would need antibiotics.
It's a very difficult space to kind of manage all the time, but How do we know when the accumulative damage is being done, that our immune system has been compromised, as opposed to us just going through a cycle of constantly getting sick?
Yeah.
How does that underlying issue emerge?
So some people don't know that actually the cough that you have can actually linger for up to 6 weeks after the infection is gone. So then patients come back and they're like, I'm still not better, I'm still coughing, but it can actually be lingering because your immune system's just not recovered yet. It actually takes up to 6 weeks sometimes. It just lingers. And then apart from like the fatigue, you can also get like brain fog, poor sleep. Patients who suffer from cold sores usually, that could be caused by herpes simplex 1. That would reappear if your immune system's down.
It's amazing how often, or even things like styes, I find if you combine anxiety and a degraded immune system, I get that. Are some people just more prone? Do you get some people, and maybe this is a psychosomatic thing as well, where people are just coming in because they know it's winter and I must get sick, but do you find some people are more kind of prone to the winter bugs than others, or is it just the human condition?
So sometimes, some people that are immunocompromised, so that's like HIV positive patients, diabetic patients, those types of cancer patients, those patients could be a little bit more prone to it because they're immunocompromised just by themselves.
As a baseline.
Yes, as a baseline. So when patients come and in winter, we obviously dress a bit warmer, we don't move much, we want to eat more comfort food. Indoors, we don't drink lots of water. So actually, what we're trying to prevent that. So what we at Inner Health would tell patients is, I made a little mnemonic for patients to remember, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge for patients today to do. www.healthy food and vitamins. So W is water, wash your hands, walk a little bit, healthy food and vitamin C. The dot is for sleep, but vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc are very important.
I know, and it sounds like a long list, but it's not, actually, if you know that it's going to keep you healthy and fortified for winter. Thank you so much for being in our corner, Doc. You don't walk this path alone, and I think being unwell, it is not a weakness, okay? So don't get your validation from pushing through it. Ignoring those symptoms might be the weakness, and knowing when to rest, knowing when to treat or to speak to a professional can help you bounce back faster and feel stronger in the long run and be more resilient in the long run. So if you're dealing with fever, pain, general winter illness, ask your pharmacist about the incredible ADCOCK INGRAM OTC Winter Survival Pack. It's a beautiful box-ticking exercise that's covered all the bases, your go-to for symptom relief and recovery support. And we're going to add our goodwill to that as well. You could win yourself 2,000 Rand in cash. That'll make you feel better instantly. Just tell us, what do you usually do to break a fever when you are ill? Maybe that family remedy, something that none of us have ever heard of before. We want to hear it. Don't forget to include that hashtag ADCOCK Winter. That's how you'll qualify for the competition. Entries close this coming Sunday, so please go and check out the T's and C's, expressoshow.com. And if you want more amazing tips and some great tools to help you stay fortified, visit beprepared365.co.za. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us, and you as well. Here's to a happy, healthy winter.